this is a test because we've never done this before, this live show. The Ghostbuster Gals will be joining us, Ronnie and Laura Lee, otherwise known as Angel Girl and Witchy Woman. And I've had a conversation with them just now, and we're going to have a fantastic show this evening. Now, let me know if you can hear me. I am actually on paranormalforum.net right now, reading comments. I probably need to log in because it doesn't seem to be live right now on their end. So, but with that said, let me bring on the Ghostbuster Gals. And gals, welcome to the show.
Here. Thank you, Bob. Good to be back with you.
Nice intro. We like that intro.
Well, believe it or not, I almost forgot to bring y'all on. I was like, oh yeah, I'm rocking to the music.
Yeah, we were
that
too.
Would be important.
I was rocking.
Oh,
be a
man.
no-show.
Yes. Well, gals, how have y'all been in this year? I mean, it's been such a chaotic year. And as we were discussing before we came on, it really has been one of those years where you just have to say, holy shit, or what is it you say?
It's full of weird shit.
It's full of weird shit, yes.
It's weird shit. A lot of weird shit going on this year.
This is true. And it's going to get weirder, I just have to tell you. As weird as it is now, it's going to get weirder.
Weirder than what it is.
Oh, yes, yes. We
So
haven't
buckle
even
up, everybody.
started to see the weird. Okay, this is just the prequel to the weird, okay? So if you're ready for it, though, and that's what my book, Cryogenetics, is kind of about, is to help prepare you for the really, really, really weird, scary shit that's about to hit the fan.
Well, you know, some of that weird shit, some of that scary shit, delicate ears, you might not want to be listening to this program because they have received permission from me to say weird shit or anything else they want to do. So...
Well, that's the only swear word we say.
Oh,
but,
yes.
But it's so appropriate. We have to call it that because that's what it is.
Now, gals, as we were discussing earlier, 2020, as I said, we have COVID-19 going on. We have hurricanes. We have, actually, it's Hurricane Sally. Every time I hear Hurricane Sally on the news, I'm automatically thinking Mustang Sally. I'm singing to myself.
Me too, Bob.
I don't mean any disrespect to anybody, but that's what I'm singing. Mustang Sally, you know. Yeah, and she's just causing all sorts of destruction everywhere. But we not only have hurricanes, we have fires out on the West Coast. We have all sorts of weird stuff going on. And as I asked you before, and I'm going to ask you now, is all of this somehow a collective effort of consciousness or unconscious thought which has manifested itself in such a negative way for us on the earth?
Yes.
Absolutely, because there is a collective unconscious, and it does collect the thoughts of the people on the earth. And when we look at what's going on now, not just with the weather, but with people getting so bent out of shape and unhinged and rioting, and, you know, peaceful protests are great, but this has been way worse than that. And between I call it, for me, as Angel Girl, I call it a manifestation of the dark, which is bubbling up and creating the havoc that's going on and the fear that's going on, which is actually an okay thing when you realize that it's coming up so that we can transmute it and shift it into light. But it does absolutely create weather and craziness that goes on. So I'm with you 100% on that.
I imagine it does. It's like the volcano we have out at Yellowstone, right? It's just
Yeah.
bubbling up. It's building up the steam and all the negativity, all the negative thoughts, all the negative activity that's going on not only in the United States but across the world. And not just what's happening now in 2020, but it's been accumulating throughout the years. And we are now beginning to see the after effects, the creation of our manifestations, our thoughts, our anger, everything. How do we
Absolutely.
alleviate this? How do we resolve the problem?
Here's the thing that I think it's important. Yeah, it's
you
important
go
to
first.
understand that the dark, which again is what I call it, always serves the light. Okay, so even, let's say, 9/11, when the towers went down and so many people died and it was horrendous and people were still affected by that horror, there was so much light that was then created around the world with people praying and sending love and energy like that. Same thing with these fires and with the floods. I mean, that's the dark bubbling up and doing its thing. And then the light, the people that believe in love and compassion and giving and sharing, just like you, Bob, we add our light to it and transmute it and shift it. So again, it's serving. The key thing is not to get caught up in it. Don't buy into the reality that this is what's going on, that there's all this evil out to get us, and there's going to be wars, and we're going to have a, revolution. If you buy into it, you're adding to it. If you start fighting with people because you believe something different than they believe, you're adding to it. So by taking a step back and observing it and then sending love energy and knowing that you're going to be okay, that is how we of the light can combat it. And Laura might have a totally different view of that, but hers is just as powerful.
Well, I have a view, but it collaborates with yours.
We're good collaborators.
We do. What I discovered was that the coronavirus corona means crown on the head, and it's a virus that is attacking our thoughts. That's the real threat. It's not a germ. It's what's going on electronically, telepathically, all in the unseen world. And
could this be caused by also? You said electronically. Could this be somehow transmitted as well through electronic devices? Because you said electronically. So everybody's got cell phones. There are cell towers everywhere in today's age, and we have satellites beaming down information, etc. Could it also?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's going on every level that you can imagine. It's electronically, it's AI, it's psychic, it's black magic. It's like all the stops have come out, and they're giving their last, it's like they're doing everything they can. Everybody, I'm talking, in my new book, Cryogenetics 2, The Covert Secrets and Alchemy. It talks about something called the ghost gangstas, and there really is such a thing. And they are having a heyday now, them with the cryptos that work on encryptions and AI. And so it's not just one group, it's all of them. All of the ass souls that want to take over are pulling out all the stops, and they're giving it everything that they've got. And so we have people going, oh my gosh, and getting all riled up. One of the best things that we can do is learn how to unplug. And I taught a class in this in my night's training, and the very first class was learning how to unplug. And you can see all this crap. I don't even go out on the internet maybe 15 minutes a day to check and see what's going on, and then I pull back. It's like you don't need over and over and over and over the same crap. It's like, okay, got it, duly noted. I'm turning it off. I'm listening to some cool music, and I'm going into my Zen zone. And you can do this. You can learn how to unplug, because if you don't, you're going to get caught up and you're going to be a part of the problem. And that's what I'm seeing is people, with good intent get caught up in this corona head virus that's being beamed to them, and they're being they're being their bitches. They're carrying out their plans of being angry and hateful and violent. And so they got them lock, stock, and barrel. And so if we can, just stop, just like stop and take a breath and go, I don't have to be a part of this. That's over there. I can go plant some flowers or go play with my chickens or something. I don't have to be a part of this. And that's what's going to save your behind, is to not stay plugged into that crazy virus that is all of it. Like I said, it's electronic, it's AI, it's all of it. It's black magic. And I've seen people unplug. So if you think, I can't, well, yes, you can. You can do this. And when you do, you're going to start getting your real thoughts instead of the thoughts that are being projected to you. And then you can go into your heart and your core star and say, okay, what can I think instead of this? Well, I can think of a whole bunch of things to make my life better and everybody else's life better. And we're going to change the movie here.
Oh yes, I guarantee. I definitely guarantee that. I myself have tried to get away from the internet to a degree. I've been writing some novels, and I found that as I spend hours on a computer, on a laptop, I have a MacBook, and when I spend hours on that, it's easy to get distracted. So what I did, I went and bought a old typewriter built in the 1930s.
I love it.
So
I love it.
I have a desk that I've just cleaned off, and I type clickety clack 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 clack. It is so awesome. And my creative energy, whereas before it had dampened, it's like the internet, computers have dampened our souls, our minds, our creativity. But when we go back to an analog world, all that returns back to us. We become ourselves once more.
This is absolutely correct. Absolutely. And you know what? In your book, you need to put a little blurb on there that says, this book was written on a old 19-whatever's typewriter. I mean, new kids today won't even know what that is.
It's a Remington Rand. Remington. A manufacturer of rifles now, but back then they built typewriters.
I love it. And that's a great way to unplug. I don't do that. By the way, I do internet maybe a couple hours a day, and I do some TV and news. The difference is I kind of understand what is being thrown at me, and I have a way of shielding myself and raising my vibration enough that crap can't get in there. But that's really the key, because Laura-Lee's right. There is energy that is being bombarded at people to make them unhinged. Have you ever seen people so unhinged in your life? Just screaming and freaking out. And they are being brainwashed by most of the, what I call the lamestream media, to believe certain things. And when you don't think like them or believe like them, they can't handle it. You've seen it, I'm sure, in your life you've seen it, where if someone doesn't think like you, they freak out, they call you names, and then they have to back off. They can't actually listen to what you're saying. And so watching this happen right now is fascinating. I've got my degree in psychology, but most of the time I don't use it until I have to look at what's going on and start observing it. And
you're just trying to figure out how crazy I am, right?
Not you.
Not me?
No,
Okay.
we love
not
you,
crazy.
not you. No, because you understand, thoughts create reality. I mean, that's just a scientific fact now. That's not woo-woo. That's nothing like that. It's scientific fact. Thoughts create reality. So as Laura Lee was saying, and you were saying, Bob, monitor your thoughts. If you find yourself caught up in negative thoughts, stop. Just stop it. And replace it with something positive, something love, something light, unless you choose to manifest in the dark, and then you can add all the crap and, hey, whatever. It's up to you, your choice. But that's what this is about right now, as far as I'm concerned. It's about the evolution of the soul of humanity. It's about us understanding who and what we are, what part of this reality we are, and how much control we actually do have with our thoughts, with our words, with our intentions, and how we can create the world that we want. It's kind of like a wake-up call, I guess.
Yes.
So we're all hearing it.
I have something to maybe help your listeners, and this is something that I taught in the Knights training. And when you get all frustrated and freaked out, okay, and you're just like, I don't know what to do, take a Kleenex tissue and put it in your hand and get a trash can. And you take all of your anxiety and your anger and your fear and you start wadding it up in that tissue. And you just wad it and you get all your anger out. And when you're ready, when you got it all out, then you reach your hand up and you turn your fist toward the trash can. Take a deep breath and open your fingers and let that tissue fall in the trash. You will feel a gazillion times better. And it's an amazing alchemical change. You're taking all that crap out, throwing it in the trash where it belongs and where it's not going to hurt anybody, and you take it out to the garbage can. And it immediately changes your electromagnetic field and your nervous system. And so,
and if I can just add to that, Laura Lee, because I think I teach something like this too. It's a beautiful, perfect way to do it, to throw all your crap in that tissue. But in my experience, it's also really important. Once you get all that crap out, that anger and everything else, and you throw it away, fill yourself back up with light, with love from the core. Yeah, from the core of who you are, the core of your being. Just feel the loving light of God or whoever you feel is your source of all things. Fill yourself back up. And that takes care of any of the holes that are created as you're getting rid of the stuff.
Yes.
Exactly.
So it's a brilliant way.
Thank you for bringing that up, because I teach this in my class too. Anytime you get rid of something, you've got to replace it with something really benevolent, or things will fill it up for you.
Speaking of that,
somebody out there. Okay, go ahead.
Speaking of that, my wife and I have these conversations about certain things that if you remove one thing, such as, say, we find a cure for a certain cancer, something will come along that's worse to take its place. That you cannot have good without evil. You cannot have day without night. And if you remove something, something's going to come around to replace it that might be worse than what it's replacing.
Okay, I hear you. And can I speak first, Ronnie, and then you can speak?
Oh,
I
yeah.
know you're going to want to talk. Okay. This was brought up in Cryogenetics 1. And, you know, this thing about good and evil and light and dark, that is a corrupted version of the corruption virus in this hologram, in this holographic universe. That the original was, the polarities were day and night, light and dark. You know, there's nothing wrong with the dark. You have to sleep when it's dark.
I love the dark.
Sweet and sour, you know, sweet and bitter. It was things like that. It wasn't benevolent and evil corruption. It's like that is a corrupted version, and we've got to go back to the balance of things that that do not have corruption. And in our society, we don't know what that even is because we've lived with corruption since we were born. This place has been corrupted almost since its inception. And so what I feel like we're doing is cleaning that corruption virus out. That's what all of this crazy is right now. It's like Ronnie said, it's bubbling up so it can be cleaned out. And in a very real way, it's like this whole holographic universe is going to be reset. And when it's reset, it's going to go back to its original form, which was without corruption. And then people say, well, how can you learn if you don't have that? Well, we'll still have broken legs and we'll still get in auto accidents. We'll still have stuff like that to teach us about, a little bit of pain and so we can appreciate feeling good. But we won't have the corruption. It's the corruption that's got to go. And so that's what is in this coronavirus is mega corruption. So we need to take that crown off of our heads and fill our heads back with our what Ronnie says, our core, or I call it our core star, our authentic soul, and bring that back. And the more people we have doing this, the more it's going to spread. And so we're going to spread the antivirus. The antivirus is us unplugging and going back to our authentic self and emanating that.
Yes. I received a phone call a while back when it was coming out all over the news that vaccine would be available soon. My brother got talking with my mom, and my mom called me. You're not going to get that vaccine, are you? That's exactly how she sounds, folks. You're not going to get that vaccine, are you? But she is highly religious. I'm not necessarily religious anymore. I was at one point a Christian. I believe in the classic Jesus. Matter of fact, I've seen the guy myself. But she...
Seeing is believing.
Yeah, I mean, I can't deny that. But she has a feeling that the vaccine will be the sign of the Antichrist because supposedly it's going to have a mark. But then again, a lot of the vaccines, a lot of the older ones will leave a mark as well. They'll eventually fade away. But she was so concerned that anybody who gets that vaccine would be marked by the beast. It's just, I don't know what you gals think about that, but in my opinion, there has always been the religious individuals who, they can always read something from the Bible and they'll interpret it, and everything everywhere they look around, they're like, oh, there it is, there's a sign. And
that's always the way it is.
I could be pulling down my pants and showing them my full moon. They'd be like, there's the sign, there's the mark of the beast right there.
It's Bob's bum. That's
it. There's the crown.
We're all going to hell.
Oh my gosh.
But you're right. You're so right. And we're not. I'll talk for myself. I'm not a religious person either, but I call myself a spiritual person, and I also believe in the Christ, and we do a lot of ghost busting, and I will always call in who I term Yeshua ben Joseph.
Mm-hmm.
Most people call him Jesus, but I call him Yeshua because his mother did. So I go with that. But
I can't pronounce it, so.
Yeshua, yes. But it's that Christ energy of love and compassion. It's all the love that's poured into one. And Yeshua will come with Archangel Michael to help us cross souls over, because as Ghostbusters, our real job is to rescue souls that are trapped. And they're trapped between the worlds. They're lost. They're stuck. So Laura Lee and I have taken on that mantle of ghost rescuers, and we call it Ghostbusters. Obviously, why? But it's important. But it's the spiritual nature, the connection to God, for me, God, I use the word God, and different than religion, because in my opinion, religion is important for some people. It's a good foundation, but it's man-made. It's made by man. It's written by man. Whereas the spiritual aspect is our connection with all that is, the energy and source of everything, which I call love. So, yeah, I kind of, I wouldn't get a vaccine personally.
I'm not, me either.
No, not because it's a mark of the beast or anything else.
Right, yeah, it's not because of that, but there's other reasons. Yeah, I won't.
There's other crap in there. I mean, if you look at the vaccines, and I'm not an anti-vaxxer per se, even though I didn't give my kid any vaccines, but there's just a lot of junk in those vaccines. I mean, if you read one of the inserts, it would blow you away, the garbage they put in there.
Well, it's one of those things you have to weigh the pluses and the pros and the cons. Right now, I'm going to wait because, I'm going to wait, see how many people it kills, first of all.
Right, there you go.
I want to be one of the last people to get the vaccine, probably, because if it kills off 100,000 people or 1 million, I'll be like, hey, I didn't get it. I'm safe.
Yeah, you're going to wait till the midnight hour, aren't you?
I'm going to wait for a while.
Yeah. So here's the thing that I'd like to just share real quick, because having fear of the virus is one of the worst things that you can do to your immune system. One of the best things you can do to avoid catching the virus is not necessarily get a vaccine, but do smart things. Keep your immune system up. Take the C's, the D's, the zinc, wash your hands, wear the mask, all things like that. Those are important things, but when you buy into the fear, again, that lowers your immune system, and then if you come in contact with this virus that, in my opinion, has been genetically modified to do nasty things, you can fight it off a lot better. Just be smart, but not buy into that fear.
You believe that the virus was genetically modified. Do you believe it was modified by the Chinese government?
I do. I believe that. When I first saw the concept of the virus coming out and all the things it was doing and who it was attacking and where it was attacking, I thought, this is not right. This does not seem natural. And so I kind of went into a meditation, and for me, it just felt like there was something done to it. It wasn't natural. And just recently, finally, I've kind of been proven right in a way, because there's a Chinese virologist that came from Hong Kong, and she has worked on this virus from the very beginning, and she has dissected it with other virologists. And she came to the same conclusion. They have proven that it was genetically manipulated to be what it is right now. And she says that it came from the Wuhan lab, and China did it. So I just read that article yesterday, and then I saw some interviews with her. One was on Tucker Carlson, and another one was somewhere. So it just is showing, it was manipulated. However, even with the manipulations, we, as spiritual beings inhabiting physical bodies, have the ability, by keeping our vibration high, by keeping our immune system high, by working with the frequencies of love, which is the highest frequency, we have the ability to keep ourselves safe. And of course, again, being smart. So wash your hands, wear the mask, people are fighting all the time. We don't wear a mask, and we're told what to do. It's like, it's time to get past that.
Hey, they wear their clothes. You're always told to wear your clothes out in public. If you don't, you'll get arrested. I know all too well. You can't walk around your neighborhood completely naked, man.
You know that by experience. You don't want to show that moon.
There it is. Mark of the beast. There it goes.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So the mask, the people that are fighting the mask, it's all an ego thing. It's like, oh, don't tell me what to do. But by wearing the mask, you're making other people feel better. It may not even protect you that much, but you're protecting other people.
Yes.
It makes them feel better. And if you can do that, why not? So I do.
All right. Well, gals, I know that. Actually, let's begin with this. I got off track, but that's okay. That's what I do. I get off track. I should call this Bob Bain Off Track.
That's a good name.
But let's
The
begin
many
with.
tracks of Bob.
Yeah. Actually, I want to know, and I don't know if the audience wants to know, but I want to know how the two of you got together as the Ghostbuster Gals and what was the first case that brought you together.
Oh, that's funny.
Wow.
Go ahead, Ronnie. You remember better.
Because you don't remember.
If you remember,
I could tell.
if it has not
You
skipped
don't
your mind.
remember.
No, I kind of remember, but
It was
yeah.
so long ago. It was all
Well,
her.
I know when it was. It was in 2000 and no, 1999 is when we got together.
1999.
Yep.
Yeah, and it was all Laura Lee's doing, really.
Oh,
because-
really?
Oh,
That's
yeah.
all me.
The witchy
Yeah.
woman, huh?
Yes, that's right.
The witchy woman, she called me up and said, hey, we have a lot of expertise together because she knows that I'd worked on some Ghostbustings and she's worked on weird shit for a long time. I call her the queen of weird shit because she is. And she said, we should get together and kind of do a business together. And I started laughing and said, yeah. So what, we'll call ourselves what, the Ghostbuster Gals? She's going, yeah, that's it. So I wrote an ad, a really funny ad that's in our book, and we posted it. And we had a newspaper person and the TV news contact us and want to do stories on us. So it's like, okay, that works for us. So they wrote an article, and then the news anchor or the reporter and his cameraman followed us around for actually 2 days, which is unheard of. And they did a 3-part episode on the Ghostbuster Gals. It was very exciting. They watched us Ghostbust in one of the homes here in Spokane. And the coolest thing is the cameraman, who really didn't believe in any of this stuff when he started, about a year or two later, he bought a house and he was having all sorts of issues. Doors were slamming, things were falling off shelves. I mean, it freaked him out. So who are you going to call, right? So he got a hold of us, and we were able to bust his house, get it nice and good again so that he didn't have any kind of issues. And that was the start of it. And Laura Lee, tell them about our new job that we're doing, our new company.
Yeah. We just posted a new website called Magic Mojo Real Estate. And what we do is, if you've got a house or a property somewhere, any kind of a building or even a pasture, whatever, and it's not selling and you think that there's bad mojo on it, making it not sell, then you can go to this website and fill out the form and hire us, and we'll bust it for you. And we don't have to be there. I mean, we busted all over the world, like really all over the world. In fact, it's easier for us to bust remotely than it is if we actually go there. And it takes longer if we actually go there, because when we bust remotely, we can go, okay, garage, okay, we're there. Okay, basement, okay, we're there. Okay, upstairs, okay, we're there.
A lot
okay,
faster.
out in the field, okay, we're there. We don't have to walk, and it just takes way less time.
I tried that
It's like
once.
remote viewing.
I was
Yeah,
just
I
going
was
to
gonna
say,
say
I tried that once, and I got invited to this person's house. They were like, bust my house. I'm like, okay, baseball bat, boom, 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 Your house is busted, man. Cops come, I'm like, what?
We're a little gentler than that.
Okay.
Yeah. So we just had a client in Belgium that we worked with, but we've had success. And the reason I thought about that is when the film crew was following us, we busted this man's mother's home. He was trying to sell it. Mother had died, and he couldn't actually even get the construction crew to finish the job. They kept quitting because paint cans were spilling over.
Wow.
And horrible. It scared them, and then they'd have another crew come in. So we busted that, and I think there's even video on it. And his mother was still there, and his aunt, and they were still in the home, and they didn't like people, trying to change the house or paint it or do anything to it. And once we were able to remove those two ghosts, and he got the job finished, he put the for sale sign down in the yard, and he drove home, which is about 5-7 minutes away. He gets home, he gets a phone call. I saw you have a house for sale. I drove by. I want to buy it. That's how quick it was. We don't guarantee it's that fast, but usually we've had cases where we've busted houses and then created a positive grid around them, and they can sell in 1, 2, 3 weeks. So it's just a side job.
Why is it? Well, let me get your opinion. Why is it certain individuals, when they die, they don't leave, they don't pass over, but instead they may either haunt their old house, possess a doll or a collection that they loved, but instead of moving on, they essentially hang on to something that meant so much to them. Why?
Right,
yes.
There's a lot of reasons. You can start, Ronnie, but there's a lot of reasons. There's not just
one
reason.
There is, because the key thing that people need to understand is what creates a ghost, and it's usually if that person does die in extreme fear or anger, or with a strong attachment to things. I call those the lower vibrational energies, like jealousy, whatever it is. The what I call the tunnel home always shows up for them, but the vibration that they're in, and most of the time it is fear, is so low they don't get to see it, and the tunnel closes and they're stuck. And a lot of times, Bob, they don't even know they're dead. I mean, we've had so many ghosts that were clueless to the fact that they were dead. So here they are in their house, and they're still walking around their house, and somebody else comes in, or a lot of times it's when somebody wants to change something in the house, construction, and they get really angry.
Can they see us?
They can. I'm going to say...
On the ghost. It's not one size fits all. Some can, some can't.
Yes, good answer. That's actually true. Even guides and angels and people from the other side, I've been told, this is what I've been told, they don't actually see us in our physical form, but they feel our energy signature. Each one of us has our own energy signature. So they tap into that. And what we look like, I mean, I was given this gift by a 16-year-old boy who was shot in the back and murdered. And his parents drove all the way from Seattle to Spokane to see me, which kind of surprised me, but they did. And he had only been dead 3 weeks. And the gift that this young man gave to me was he showed me what his mother looked like through his eyes. That's how connected I was to this kid. And what she looked like was this huge field of beautiful, swirling pastel colors with lights, and it's hard to describe really, in earth terms, but it was magnificent. And that was his gift. So that's kind of what they see. We're not just contained in these little bodies of ours, but we have a field of energy that just emanates out from us, and that's what they look at. So don't worry about taking a shower and your guides popping in or whatever, because they don't actually see you.
It depends on who it is that's looking. Different people will see, or different ghosts will see different things, if depending on what their background and evolution is. And so there's no one,
never
this
one
kid
size
that got
fits all,
shot,
yeah.
he was obviously very evolved,
Yeah.
and so he might see his mother different than somebody else would. And so it's a lot of it's perception, and it's kind of different for, there's like different categories, like higher awareness and lower awareness, how they kind of see things the same. So it just depends on who's looking, what ghost it is. Not all ghosts are created equal.
They aren't. I mean, we've had ghosts that knew they were dead, and they had control over other ghosts. I mean, we have a story in our book, Got Ghost, about the Amargosa Hotel and Opera House that Laura Lee and I did, and there were so many, many ghosts there, but they were under the control of this one horrible ghost that everybody thought was a demon, but it wasn't. And that's a really fun story that's in the back of our book. But ghosts, people become ghosts again because they die in a lower vibrational energy. Fear, shock, sometimes when they're murdered. We had a ghost that we dealt with that was hit in his head and just popped out of his body and got stuck. So the key thing for people is stay in the love. Love is the highest frequency. Just stay in that love, and you will be just fine.
Yes. Now, I've got to ask you, because this is something I myself have at least considered as a probability, whether I've watched too many television shows, read books by Dean Koontz, whatever it might be. But what if we are dead ourselves? We are on a different frequency, and the people on the other side of this frequency, this veil, are what we become after we die from this death. And on that end, it is life. I mean, it is it's a weird thought, but what if we're dead here?
That's an interesting thought. Yeah, it's like you probably won't know until you get there.
Yeah. I have nothing to say about that because I just don't know. I'm a firm believer that there is no one person on this earth that knows everything.
And actually,
Yeah.
If we die here and we wake up and we're still alive, we're not really dead. Unless we go to hell, then we're like, what the hell? And you're like, yes,
That's right.
you're in hell, yes.
Let me tell you something about hell. Hell is really important to talk about. Hell.
Hell.
Hell. I'm going to talk about hell for a second. Hell doesn't exist unless you want it to. This is, I've been doing this for 35, 40 years, studying spirituality and metaphysics, and Laura Lee has too. And I am convinced that hell doesn't exist. So unless you create it, we're creating our life here, and we create our life on the other side. There's a fabulous movie called What Dreams May Come.
Oh, yes.
Robin Williams was in it. Remember that one? Yeah, his wife created a hell for herself, and he went and rescued her out of it. So thoughts create reality. Thoughts are probably one of the most powerful things that we have. That's why it's important to think positive. And when you catch yourself thinking negative, just change the thought. Everybody is strong enough and powerful enough to do that. So on the other side, I believe that there are levels. I mean, I've talked to a lot of people that have experienced near-death experiences and created things on the other side. But our thoughts will create it. And I believe that where you evolve in this life is where you go to in the next. In other words, not everybody goes to the same place. There are different levels. I think Jesus said, my Father's house has many mansions, different places depending on the level of evolvement. And I've rescued people out of something we would call hell, like drug overdoses. There's kind of a place where sometimes they go that would feel like a hell to them.
Yes, I can imagine that. I know you gals remember this. Back in 2013, the little girl I helped raise for the first 7 years of her life, I remember her when she was still in her mother's belly. We were good friends in high school, and we reconnected back in 2013 13, it was, right before her birthday, she wanted to reconnect. And about 2 weeks after her 20th birthday, she hanged herself. We did not realize what was happening. We really didn't pay attention to her Facebook page. She said, in 2 weeks, I'll have a birthday, and then there's the graveyard. She actually said that on her Facebook page. We just missed it. Her mother hanged herself in 2016 on Mother's Day. And, of course, I lost my dad in 2015, and then my dogs died back to back.
Oh, yeah.
But
you had some terrible things that happened.
I did. But speaking of hell, when it comes to suicides, what are the prospects of people who feel that they have no reason to live, or that life is so torturous now, they're hoping something better resides on the other end, such as Robin Williams, who actually did that as well, just like his make-believe wife did in What Dreams May Come, with Hannah and her mother. What are they looking at? What are we looking at for them? Is there a way to bring them out if they're stuck?
Yeah. Yes, of course. That's exactly what we do. And I'm sorry to say, but most of the suicides that we've dealt with have been stuck. You know, you kill yourself mostly because you have no hope. You're hopeless. And you can't see a way out. And you and I and everybody else knows there is always a way out. But when you are that depressed and that down, you just can't see it. And so they hang themselves or they take drugs or whatever it is. And most of the time, because they're in such a deep, deep, deep state of depression, they do get stuck. And that's why Laura Lee and I do the work we do. I have had some suicides. A friend of mine's father killed himself, and he crossed. And the reason he crossed is he didn't kill himself because there was no way out and there was no hope. He did it to save his family. He knew he was sick. He was diagnosed with a serious fast-spreading cancer, and he did not want to put that on his family. And so he very meticulously planned to take his life, and he did. And, I mean, even to the point where he put plastic down so he wouldn't dirty anything.
Yes.
And he was able to cross because of his attitude and his thinking processes. Most suicides also, what we have found in our experience, because we have dealt with quite a few, they go into what's called a time loop, where they wind up, their hell winds up being
where they relive it.
Repeating it, over and over and over.
I've heard about that, yes.
Yes.
And so that, to me, in my personal opinion, I don't mean to interrupt you, in my personal opinion, reliving your worst moments in life, including your death, there could be no worse hell, period.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Exactly.
It's a self-made hell.
I'm glad that Ronnie brought this up because I was just going to say that too, that it depends on who it is and why they killed themselves will determine what happens to them after that. And so, it's just important to know that everybody that kills himself doesn't automatically go to this time loop hell.
No.
And there are, we've pulled a lot of people out of what I call spirit traps, and some of these are, some of them are AI, some of them are, there's all sorts of things out there that can that can suck you in. And the thing is, if you stay, with your own heart and core and self-determination, it's really hard for them to pull you out. So what I'm seeing with all the crazy that's going on is to totally knock everybody off balance, and so they're easier to control. And so the more that you stay in balance, and it's let's see, let me see if I can say this over. Okay, I can tell you. There's I'm going to tell him about the SYL protocol. This is in my book, Cryogenetics 2, and we use the cryogenetics egg a lot, and it's upped its game exponentially in the last few years. And there's the egg that we call the badass egg that can clean you up, and we put our ghosts in it, and it cleans it up and figures out where they need to go, and then it just takes off and takes them where they need to go. And when it's funny that my voice is cracking now.
Well, guys,
of course, you're doing something important.
Yeah.
Right. When you have something on your tail that won't go, whether it's a ghost or you can call it a demon, whatever, some creepy, nasty thing, energy, whether it's AI, if you say to it, "Screw you, loser," now it can't be "F you, loser," that doesn't do it.
It doesn't.
It doesn't.
No.
You cannot say that.
I would love to say that, but no.
No, it doesn't.
It only works with "screw you" for some reason.
Because what happens is the egg, the star on the top of the egg starts to spin, and it will literally go after the asshole that's on your tail and fill it with truth and justice juice. Okay? So by saying that, you're getting these assholes off your tail, they're getting their karma, and you instantly feel better. Now, if you say, "Up yours, losers," you say, "Screw yours, losers, up yours, losers," the egg will go up the food chain to their bosses. And I'm telling you, sometimes I've had to say this 10, 15, 20 times a day, but you get instant relief from any kind of anxiety that you had, or if you felt creepy crawlies on you. It's like the magic formula. And this is found in my book, Cryogenetics 2. It gives you the whole spiel on how that works and why it works. And it does work. And so I just had to put that out. I didn't know I was going to put that out on this show. But it does work. So,
And then Laura Lee,
Yeah.
why don't you, for people that haven't really seen or heard us before, why don't you explain a little bit about what the cryogenetics egg is, so they kind of have an idea.
Well, the cryogenetics egg, for one thing, is a tool that we use a lot in our ghost busting. And it's also the reason our ghost book got blackballed, because we have the cryogenetics egg, which is actually the symbol of life, but it's much more than that. We use it to clean things out. It's just an amazing life form, and it's a spiritual aspect of the Almoricite rocks. And it's had a lot of history, and it keeps upgrading. So whatever the assholes are doing to upgrade their game, the cryogenetics egg is upgrading it to be bigger and badder than whatever the assholes have.
Yes.
So
Gals?
Yes.
We're getting close to the hour, and I want to know, do you want to go for another 30 minutes? We can take a break.
Sure. What do you say, Laura?
Well, okay. How long
You've already got her
take
chicken.
a break. I got to run out and put my chickens to bed.
Okay. How long do you need?
What we could do is do another show in a couple of weeks.
Okay.
How would that be?
That would be fine.
Would that work?
Yes.
And then we can get some more of the stuff together, and I'll send you a picture of the egg so you can put it on your website, and people can know about that. And we'll just kind of go to the next level.
And then we can get on to the energy net, etc. Updates, anything else.
Yes, we will do that.
Yeah, maybe around Halloween.
Hey, that'd be great.
That's just like a few weeks.
Yeah.
Like a month.
Yeah.
So, gals, before we do go, I do want to ask you both, just because I'm interested in knowing, I know that Ronnie, you are Angel Girl, and Laura Lee, you are Witchy Woman, right? Are you both witches?
Oh, that's such a good question. I never would
I
have
did
said
say
yes to
witches.
that.
I did say witches, folks. Witches.
said
Yes, I
witch,
know. With a W, yes.
Yes.
I would have never thought I was a witch until I looked at our website where Laura Lee put this thing that says, "What is a witch?" And I start reading it and reading it, and I'm going, "Oh my God, I do that. Yes, I believe in that." So yes, I'm not. I don't practice Wiccan like she does, but if you really look at what a witch is, on our website, ghostbustergals.com, yeah, I definitely fall into that category.
She is.
And she's definitely a witch.
A witch.
Well, you know,
we do witch things together. Okay, go ahead. What?
I was just going to say, the pictures I've seen of the two of you together, angel girls usually dressed in white. And
yes, or pink.
yes, and witchy woman, you're always dressed in dark attire.
Oh yeah, I am. I like that.
And that's
dark
how
colors.
yeah, she likes her dark colors. I like my light pastels. And, I work with the angelic realm when I do readings for people. I'm always contacting the angelic realm plus people that might have crossed over. And that's where I get my source. And she works with, oh my gosh, the things she works with.
Yeah.
Everything else.
Everything.
All the good, all the other good stuff.
And, every,
yeah.
Okay.
Every mystical being that you can imagine is kind of who I hang out with. So.
Well,
Yes.
I know we've got so much more material to work with, but we will potentially end it for this evening and get back together again pretty soon. Before we go,
Yeah.
Is there anything else the two of you would like to share with the audience?
I want to thank you, Bob, for putting this show together and bringing your love and your light to people because it's needed right now. And I just want to send my love and my compassion to everyone out there, just to let you know it's going to be okay. Just hang on, and things are going to get crazy and then better. So it's
exactly.
okay.
Yes.
So it's like, don't worry, be happy. It's
Yes, that's exactly right. Be happy.
Like really, and to add to that, yes, things are going to get crazy, and I feel like everybody's going to start seeing all the unseen things that are out there that have been plaguing us, and it's going to start manifesting in the physical, or our eyes will be able to see that crap. And so it's a good thing, but it's going to scare the yell out of some people. But if they know what it is, they'll go, okay, yeah, I saw this coming. Yeah, this is what it is. Screw you, loser.
Yeah.
and just kind of navigate through it. And yeah, it doesn't have to be scary. The indigos that I work with are excited about this because it's like we've waited all of our life, and everything that we've done up to this point it's like game on. It's like, all right, we got our armor shined up and we're ready for this. And they're excited, and I'm excited actually. It's like finally the truth is coming out. Truth and justice is finally happening. And
yes.
That's where I'm coming from.
And I know you've got to go deal with your chickens. Have you ever taken a possessed person and taken the possessor and put them into the body of your chickens?
No.
No.
Why would I do that?
I don't know.
Would never do that. Our chickens are the most wonderful little creatures. We love our chickens. We love our chickens.
You could have some possessed chickens running around with, spinning their necks and everything else.
No.
No.
No, Bob.
Oh my
we
God.
send those possessed beings where they belong, but
That's
our
right.
chickens,
they go to
love
Karma
our
Land.
chickens.
These possessed beings, well, there's a place for them, and it's called the Land of Karma. So, yeah, no, we would never do that. Just so
no,
you know.
get yourself some chickens. You'll
right.
love
You
them.
get some chickens, and you'll understand it.
They're very highly evolved beings.
All right, well, gals, Thank you so much for appearing on this program with us. As you can tell, it's the midnight hour, even though it isn't. It is the midnight hour, and I appreciate
It's always the midnight hour.
it. Always is. Well, gals, thank you. We'll get back in touch, and I'll bring you back on soon.
Oh, okay.
Sounds good.
Like a
Thanks,
plan.
Bob.
Thank
Okay,
you.
bye-bye.
Y'all have a good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. And that, ladies and gentlemen, was Ronnie and Laura Lee, otherwise known as Angel Girl and Witchy Woman, the Ghostbuster Gals, the original Ghostbuster Gals. And I want to thank you all for listening to this program. As we discussed, we were running out of time. I apologize for that. But we're going to get back together here again pretty soon. And we're going to be discussing the energy net that was on around Ground Zero. We're going to discuss so many other things. And this is the Midnight Hour. And I am Midnight Bob. Well, folks, until the next time we come back together again, good night.